All right, home loan shoppers, let's go ahead and kick off chapter 4. If you just happen to run across this video, this is one video in a home loan shopping series course. Please refer to the description of this video. In the description, you will see the outline that is next to my head here. The outline is hyperlinked, so you can click on it and go to any part of this course that you would like to. All right, so let's go ahead and get into chapter 4. As you see, chapter 4 is divided up into a few sections. This is going to be the first section on what to do before you contact the prospective lender. All right, so let's jump right into it. And this section is going to kick off with online research. So you want to go to the company's website. All right. And here's a real easy one right here. If they don't have a website, I would highly recommend not dealing with that company. Okay. This is not 10 years ago. Any lender, any brokerage, any bank in this day and age that does not have a website is probably not worth dealing with. So move along. All right. So you're going to go to their website, and the first thing that you want to check out are the interest rates. That's right. You want to go to the website and see if they have interest rates posted. Not for the reason a lot of you might think. No, this is not so you can go compare one company to another company, because a lot of companies that do post these interest rates, they put one interest rate up there in each category, or just one altogether. It's typically bait and switch bullshit, because if you started this home loan shopping course from the beginning, I covered in chapter 1 how the mortgage interest rate, retail mortgage rates work. And I talked about how we all have the same interest rate. Yes, we do. That is not my opinion. That is fact. Or if it helps you wrap your head around it better, we all have access to the same interest rates. The difference is what we charge in closing fees for those rates. So this company that's trying to just bait you in, can put a rate up there but not show you the closing fees. A lot of them do that. Or they show you the minimum that they're required to in the disclaimer section, or disclosure section, they call it. So if you see when they have their interest rates posted, there's a little disclaimers or disclosures tab. It's either labeled disclaimers or disclosures. You click on that, and that gives you things like the information on what these interest rates are based on. And sometimes they will list what the fees, the points are, something like that associated with the rate. A lot of times they do not. They bury the closing fees. So you're required to either apply online or call to find out what the closing fees really are for that fantastic rate you're viewing. And they could put any rate up there, because we're not required to show rates on our websites. That's right. We're not required to advertise our interest rates, but if we do, we have to show a bare minimum, but that bare minimum still does not clearly show what the rate is going to cost. So if a company does have a rate posted up there, but they give you no idea of whether it's no cost or there's cost associated with it and what that cost is, forget that mess. That's just bait and switch crap. And you don't want to get into that. One company baiting people in over another company because they can get away with that. So if there's an interest rate posted, make sure there's some cost associated with it. All right. So now there are three primary reasons why a company is not showing their interest rates. And yes, there is a reason why. It's not just, oh, they didn't happen to show them. No, they are not showing them for a reason. And it's 99.8% of the time, it's for one of these three reasons that I'm about to tell you. Reason number 1 is because they don't want to be transparent. That is reason number 1. If they're transparent and they have shitty pricing, they know you're going to just run away. Okay, so they don't show it. They want to bait you in first, get you to call them, preferably so you can talk to one of their slick salespeople, or get you to put your information online, because once they have your information online, they can bug the hell out of you forever. So that's why they don't show it on purpose. They're going to show all kinds of other wonderful things, especially some of these large places, how wonderful they are and how many people they've ripped off. I mean, how many people they've serviced, how all this other stuff about how damn wonderful they are. Okay, so if you're so wonderful, where are your friggin' interest rates? They're not showing on purpose. They want to, the old term, they want to baffle you with their bullshit and get you to contact them first, and then they'll slip the closing fees in there later. And that's how a lot of these places do. They compete with one another online by listing these interest rates in there without a clear idea of what the closing costs are. So transparency is number one. Number two reason is lack of confidence. They lack of confidence. They feel, well, we know our pricing is shitty. If somebody sees our interest rate pricing, they're just going to go to the other company. That is freaking lame. But unfortunately, there are a ton of places out there like that. They're afraid of the competition. If they show the rates, you'll run to the next place. The other reason is this. The liars are scared of this too, because they know other companies are out there lying, and that another company might be willing to lie more than they're lying. So they put their bait and switch rate up. They know another company can put a better bait and switch rate up there. It's one liar against another liar, and they're afraid the bigger liar is going to win out. So that lack of confidence, and you don't want to deal with a company that's not willing to be transparent, and that they're not confident in what they have to offer. There's companies there are some companies that post their rates, and maybe their rate is a little bit higher. In fact, there's one bank in particular I know like that. They know their pricing's a little bit higher, but that's not what they're about. They're about service. And so they don't care. They're like, all right, yeah, maybe it's a little bit more, but our service more than makes up for it. That's confidence, and that's what you want to go with, the confident company. All right. So talked about transparency of the liars, and then we talked about the companies of the scaredy cats and also liars. Now the third reason they don't have their interest rate posted, this is going to sound lame, but it is true. They're too damn lazy to do it. That's right. Posting your rates is not the most difficult thing to do, but it is not the easiest thing in the world to do, because I mentioned that we don't have to post our rates, but once we do, we have to abide by the law. We need to do it in accordance with the Truth in Lending Act, or we can get into a hell of a lot of trouble. So the companies are too lazy to put in the effort to post their interest rates correctly. Also, we have to keep those rates updated, and they're too lazy to do that. Again, it's not the most difficult task in the world for an experienced company, but it's not the easiest. Do you really want to deal with a lazy ass company? I certainly don't. So it's always one of those, in most cases, 99.8% of the time, it's either lack of transparency, lack of confidence, or they're lazy asses. Okay. So that's what you want to go online for. When one of the first things you want to do is go to their website, see if the website exists, see if they have interest rates posted, see if it's a liar interest rate. If it's posted, no closing costs associated with it. And then if it's not posted, then I would recommend don't even deal with them if they don't post their rates, because there's a reason why. And I just showed you the 3 reasons why. Okay. Next thing you want to do before you contact the company is go online and check for complaints. Yes. Check for the complaints online, and just like any reviews that you're used to looking at, like Amazon reviews, there are certain reviews that you want to disregard because they're usually BS reviews. Number one would be appraisals. If you see a complaint about their house not coming in high enough, I would disregard that unless you see a clear pattern of it where there's tons of people complaining about their house not coming in. What that is from is the people just baiting them in, saying, oh yeah, your house should appraise just fine, and instead of asking the person, hey, what is your home valued at, and having a conversation about that, and not just telling the person, hey, don't worry about the appraisal. But typically, if you see a complaint about the appraisal, it's because somebody is pissed off about their house not coming in high enough. That is not the fault of the bank, the lender, the brokerage, or the credit union. Okay. And also, there's these rumors out there. I've seen this before about people thinking that the company's making money off the appraisals. They're not making a damn cent off those appraisals. We can't even have our own appraisals in house now. We have to use outside appraisers randomly picked from a pool of appraisers based on their availability. So they're not making any money off the appraisals. If you see a complaint about the appraisal, it's because, well, their home just didn't value. The other thing you want to disregard most of the time. If you see their loan was declined, they're complaining about their loan being declined. Hell, that decline is to protect you, the customer. If you can't afford it, why put you in a home that's going to later get foreclosed on? You don't want that foreclosure on your record. You don't want to go through that it sucks going through that. You don't want to do that. You want to have that on your record. You don't want to go through that embarrassment. You don't want to go through that trouble of and that decline helps prevent you from getting that being foreclosed on. It's good for ultimately good for the customer. It's good for the lender, of course, and it's good so they can stay in business without incurring these extra expenses dealing with these foreclosures, expenses that they have to pass on to the other customers. And it's also good for the community as a whole, because that foreclosure down the street, those foreclosures not pulling the value of your home down, okay? And putting a blight on your neighborhood. So declines. Now, if you see a pattern of decline, because there are some places that just pull anything in, their loan originators suck, they're not qualifying people properly, and they're just pulling it in, throwing it on the wall, seeing if it sticks. If you see a pattern of declines, certainly pay attention to that. But in most cases, the declines are just somebody pissed off. Blow that off. And same thing with the appraisal thing. Again, look for patterns. One exception, I would say, to the pattern, if you see a complaint about baiting and switching, as in they brought somebody in, sold them on this really low interest rate, and then charged the hell out of them, all these high fees, look for those. If you only see one of those, I would raise an eyebrow and pay attention. Baiting and switching is a serious thing, okay? All right, so that's the second thing. So the first thing was going to their website, seeing if they have a website, which they should, seeing if they have a rate posted, and if they do have a rate posted, if there's closing costs associated with that. And then if they don't post the rates, I showed you the reasons why. The next day is to go online, look for the complaints, but disregard the stuff like, appraisals coming in and the declines. The final thing is you want to look for trigger terms. Now, this is not just on their website. Trigger terms or trigger words in their advertisements that they might mail out to your house. Okay, so anywhere they have any type of advertisement on their website or offline, you want to look for these trigger terms. Trigger term number one: we have the lowest rates. Bullshit. No company out there can say that. All right. Competitive rates. We have extremely competitive rates. Yes. It's hard to beat our rates. Certainly you put that out there too, but we have the lowest rates. You don't know that. They don't know that. Thousands of companies out there. You have no damn idea. Thousands of companies out there with hundreds of thousands of loan originators out there. Have you really checked out all of those? No, they haven't. If you have not checked out every single one of those companies in detail, then you cannot say you have the lowest rates. That's just baiting crap, and you want to stay away from that baiting crap there, okay? We have the lowest rates. Horseshit. No, you don't. You don't know that. Maybe you do. 99% chance you don't, okay? I know that my rates are ridiculously competitive. I know that from the beginning. I have that type of confidence, but I still don't put that on my website. Okay. The other thing you want to look for: match and beat. Will match and beat anyone? Are you freaking kidding me? That's like saying, I'm going to rip your ass off unless you haggle with me. Yes, that's what that's saying. That's what that's implying. Match and beat. That means we're going to post our high ass pricing up here and then lower it down if you complain. I won't say the name of it, but I know a major office retailer that does that shit all the time. Okay, so match and beat. All right. Any lenders, banks, brokerages out there saying match and beat? Okay, it's different from there's other online places out there or other places out there, you go to a Home Depot or something like that have the match and beat policies, legitimate match and beat ones. But when you see the lenders, these different banks and stuff doing it, it's typically horseshit. Okay, stay away from that. That's basically an excuse to rip people off, because you have to think about all the hundreds or thousands of people that are applying that don't haggle with them. So if you don't haggle with them, you're going to get full price. Plus, you can't say match and beat because you don't know if you can match and beat. Some big box lender is certainly not going to match and beat against me. I have a fraction of the expenses that they do unless they want to lose money. They literally cannot compete like that, do the match and beat. So unless you know for a fact that you can match and beat every one of the thousands of companies out there, shut your trap and don't advertise that. Otherwise, it's because it's BS. All right. Next thing, we have the best service in the country. Best service. All right. Again, it's great to be confident about your service level. I'm damn confident about my service levels because I put everything into my service levels. Okay. But I cannot say that I have the best service out there because once again, just like the interest rates, I don't know what all the thousands of companies out there are doing, even though I know my service is freaking bang up. But who knows what another company out there is doing to make their service even better. Again, this is what to do. This first part, what to do prior to contacting the prospective lender, brokerage, or bank, is mostly online research. You go in there and it told you what to do about the company's interest rates, told you what to do about the complaints, and then finally look for these trigger terms, these trigger words. Okay. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.